Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charles Foster, and today I'll be presenting my capstone project, Cascadia Out of Sync: Communication Breakdowns in Coastal Climate Resilience. This project explores how governance fragmentation and communication gaps affect climate resilience efforts in Washington's coastal communities. As climate change accelerates, coastal communities are facing increasingly severe hazards, including sea level rise, coastal flooding, erosion, and infrastructure vulnerability. Washington State has a large number of organizations, agencies, and initiatives dedicated to hazard mitigation and climate adaptation. But despite this, many resilience efforts remain fragmented or difficult to coordinate across jurisdictions. This led me to my research question. How do gaps in governance and interagency collaboration shape climate resilience outcomes for Washington's coastal communities? To investigate this question, I interned with Washington Sea Grant and worked alongside the Coastal Hazards Organizational Resilience Team. During this experience, I participated in site visits to vulnerable communities and ecosystems across Washington state. I recorded observational field notes on adaptation strategies, environmental conditions, and stakeholder interactions. I also conducted semi-structured interviews with coastal planners, resilience practitioners, and government personnel involved in climate adaptation work. From these interviews and observations, several major patterns emerged. The first major finding was that Washington has extensive climate resilience resources and organizations, but these efforts are often poorly coordinated across agencies and jurisdictions. One of the clearest themes throughout this project was that effective resilience depends not only on technical solutions, but also on institutional coordination and trust between organizations and communities. This is illustrated in Figure 2, which shows a partner map I created during my internship identifying organizations involved in sea level rise mitigation and resilience planning. What became apparent to me during this map's development was not a lack of effort, but a highly complex network of agencies operating across different jurisdictions, priorities, and scales. Many interviewees described overlapping responsibilities between organizations, unclear communication pathways, and institutional fragmentation that slowed adaptation planning and encouraged reactive responses to hazards instead of proactive long-term planning. Another major finding involves stakeholder engagement. While many resilience initiatives emphasize community involvement, my observations, as well as the surrounding body of research on coastal climate resilience, note that engagement processes are often limited or superficial. Vulnerable, rural, and frontline communities are not always meaningfully included in decision-making processes, despite often facing the greatest climate risks. Based on these findings, my project recommends several improvements to coastal resilience planning. First, adaptation planning should prioritize vulnerable and frontline communities that are disproportionately exposed to climate hazards. Second, agencies should strengthen interagency collaboration networks to improve coordination, reduce duplication of effort, and support regional adaptation planning. Third, resilience efforts should move beyond consultation-based stakeholder engagement towards long-term partnerships and shared decision-making processes with affected communities. Figure 3 provides another example of why these coordination challenges matter. The images show Samish Island and its connecting isthmus over a 90-year period. Comparing aerial photography from 1936 with modern LiDAR imagery from 2026 demonstrates visible shoreline recession and the transformation of previously inhabited land into floodplain habitat. These kinds of long-term environmental challenges require coordination adaptation planning that crosses political, ecological, and institutional boundaries. Ultimately, this project argues that the challenges facing coastal resilience in Washington are not simply a lack of scientific knowledge or technical expertise. Rather, it is the difficulty of coordinating institutions, agencies, and communities across overlapping systems of governance. Addressing the effects of climate change effectively will require not only engineering and environmental science, but also stronger communication, collaboration, and long-term institutional relationships. Thank you for listening. This project would have been a lot more difficult without the support of my advisors, my peers, my loving family, and my wonderful partner.